Hey, what's going on, Guardians? My name is the Black Link, and this week has been an insane week for Destiny 2 in terms of news. Of course, we're learning a bunch of things from Game Informer's 1-month coverage of Forsaken, featuring a bunch of interviews, a bunch of new information, and all kinds of exclusive content that we get to report on. And today, we're going to be talking about the 9 new supers and attunement trees that are going to be coming to the 3 main classes in Destiny 2 Forsaken. Now, this information is coming from Game Informer issue 304, the big Forsaken August feature. And they go in depth with the new supers, some of the new abilities tied to them, and the new perks and effects that you'll also be getting. And we'll be going over exactly what they had to say about each of those classes right here. There will be 3 new supers and attunement trees per class, so we'll go ahead and start off with Titans here. First up, for the Sentinel subclass, you guys are getting the Code of the Commander. With this, melees cause explosions, but all void ability damage also attaches a void detonator, and any subsequent damage causes the detonator to go off and attach detonators to enemies caught in the explosion. So think kind of like the Graviton Lance ability of causing those sort of mini Axion Bolt-like explosives to pop out, except these things will attach to enemies and then further detonate. It's almost kind of like a mixture of that and Bloom from Voidwalkers. Anyways, moving on, grenade energy partially recharges for you and nearby allies when detonators trigger. You also get a new ability called Banner Shield, which can still be used for offense like normal, but holding guard creates a barrier wall of light that absorbs enemy attacks, but allows allies' attacks to pass through. Now this is tied to your super. The Banner Shield is going to be something you can activate when you go into your super mode. You summon that Captain America shield. When you hold the guard button, you're basically going to drop a gigantic wall in front of yourself, sort of like Reinhardt from Overwatch is the way I would imagine this thing sort of works. So you can kind of walk with it, move around with it, and teammates who are standing behind this shield will be able to shoot through it at enemies in front of you. Absolutely fantastic change for the Sentinel class. Next up, we've got the Code of the Devastator for Sunbreakers. With this, you can throw your hammer with the melee button, but it remains in the world. You can risk retrieving it where it fell to fully recharge your melee ability and trigger health regen. And the more solar ability kills you get, the higher your damage, up to a 3-time stack. Now, this sounds insane. So basically, they're replacing the melee option on the Code of the Devastator, your normal melee flame punch, with the ability to throw a single super hammer. So you can throw that hammer, but it stays out in the world, so you can run to it and pick it up. And if you pick it up, it fully recharges your melee ability and triggers health regen so you can throw the hammer again. This is basically like getting a slower version of your super, and it sounds incredible. Speaking of the super, you now have Siege Hammer, which creates a flaming maul that hits enemies like an earthquake and leaves behind flame tornadoes. This is that gigantic flaming hammer we've seen in so many trailers thus far. And it looks like it's going to be an absolute ton of fun to play with. You can do some big ground pound slams. You can use kind of a spin to win attack we got to see in the Game Informer trailer. Cannot wait to see how this class plays. I'm really interested in being able to just summon that hammer and throw it. I want to see exactly how much damage it can do, especially when you stack up those solar ability kills. It sounds like it's going to be a really fun, really interesting neutral game. Alright, finally for strikers, you've got the Code of the Missile. While airborne, melee to slam into the ground like a bunker buster and gain super energy for your trouble. If you pick up ammo while sliding, you automatically reload your equipped weapon and increase weapon damage for a short period of time. This sounds crazy. I'm wondering if there's going to be some sort of cooldown on that last part there where you're sliding to pick up ammo, because otherwise it's basically like Shade Step for hunters, except you can slide whenever you want. So I'm imagining there has to be a cooldown there, maybe a 5-second cooldown or something, so you can't just keep sliding and reloading instantly. But the aerial slam we've also seen in previous trailers, and it's basically kind of like a mini Death from Above from Destiny 1. Now for the super, we've got Thundercrash, which sends you hurtling great distances like a missile to hit a targeted area like a meteor strike. We've seen a couple of clips of this, and it looks like it's basically going to be just a longer range version of the Fist of Havoc. So you can kind of aim it, shoot through the sky, and land inside of a group of enemies for massive AoE damage. Alright, for hunters, first up, the Night Stalkers are getting the Way of the Wraith. Your melee smoke bomb heavily damages and slows those in its path. Nail the perfect precision kill against a foe to vanish and gain true sight. So interesting combination there. We're going to get a damage-heavy smoke bomb that also still slows enemies who get caught in it. But I'm really interested in that precision kill, invisibility, and true sight sort of thing. Is true sight simply just going to be that ability where you can target enemies through walls and whatnot? I guess we'll have to see. But you're getting a super called Spectral Blades, which drops you into a veil of shadows to slip behind foes and stab them before they know you're even there. Looks like it's kind of going to function sort of like Golden Gun already does, except you're going to be throwing knives rather than shooting flaming bullets. We got to see some great footage of that in some of the previous trailers as well. For Arc Striders, you're getting a new path called the Way of the Current. Slide before a melee to unleash a staff-powered uppercut, and any melee hits increase your reload speed. All your arc abilities electrify your enemies, and subsequent melee strikes disorient them and refuel your abilities. Really sort of playing into the overall physical nature of the Arc Strider. The ability to disorient enemies who have already been hit by one of your arc abilities like a grenade definitely sounds like a really powerful combination for PvE. And your brand new super is called the Whirlwind Guard. You can guard by spinning your staff, creating a barrier in front of you. And using this, any projectiles against you will be reflected. Reflecting damage triples your Arc Staff damage. The Arc Staff can still be used as a normal Arc Strider super if so desired. This is huge, so basically you can kind of put up a shield with your staff reflecting any sort of incoming projectile. And if you do, it triples your Arc Staff's damage. So I can see a lot of combinations with this, coming in, blocking a big shot from enemies, and then moving in with that triple damage to just wipe out the entire group of either enemy guardians or fallen or really whatever else you're fighting. Definitely an interesting take on the Arc Strider. Alright, for gunslingers, you're getting the Way of 1,000 Cuts. With this, knife trick melees fling out a fan of burning blades. In turn, killing burning enemies recharges your knife trick, and burning enemies also recharge your dodge. I love the way this sounds. We got to see some gameplay of this, of just kind of throwing flaming knives at enemies. I like that this ability kind of leans into its own recharge rate. So if you're hitting enemies and you're starting to burn them and you move in and you secure those burning kills, you're going to get more melee energy back as well as more energy for your dodge. Basically, the more effectively you use Knife Trick, the more you're going to be getting your energy back for it. That's a great gameplay loop to keep ability usage active. And for your super, you're getting the Blade Barrage, which doubles down on your knife skills, expelling a volley of explosive knives. So kind of like the Spectral Blade super, except these knives detonate. Not too bad at all. And finally, for Warlocks. First up is the Dawnblade subclass with the Attunement of Grace. Now we've actually already talked quite a bit about some of these abilities in a previous video. So a lot of this is going to sound familiar to you. With this, melee attacks burn bad guys as well as empower allies. Transform your grenade by holding the grenade button into a blessing, a projectile that heals allies and drops retrievable overshield orbs. And this ability is great. You get to overcharge your grenade, toss it on the ground, it creates a sphere of light, and anyone who stands in it or near it's going to be basically getting their health back as well as an overshield to protect them for a short period of time. It gives you all kinds of other buffs as well. And the brand new super for the Dawnblade is going to be the Well of Radiance, where you slam your Dawnblade sword into the ground, creating a wide radius aura that rapidly heals and empowers your friends. Any ability that heals or empowers helps regen your non-super abilities. Meaning your Rift, your Melee, or your Overcharged Healing Grenade will also help to recharge your ability energy. Overall, just a fantastic class breakdown. I love the new support Warlock. For Stormcallers, we're getting the Attunement of Control. Tap the Melee button to fling out a long-distance electricity ball that eventually detonates and flings a lightning bolt straight downward. Arc kills sometimes create ionic traces, a spark of arc energy that travels across the ground towards you, which can be collected to recharge your cooldown abilities. Now you notice a theme with a lot of these supers here. A lot of them basically lean into themselves. Utilizing the abilities speeds up your recharge rate so you get those abilities back. I love that sort of thing, and I'm very glad that Bungie is leaning into this philosophy surrounding ability usage and being able to use your abilities even more. Definitely a great change. And for the super, we've got Chaos Reach, which fires a long-range blue beam of intense, focused light, deals high damage, and it can be deactivated early to save on super energy. This is that gigantic Kamehameha beam that Warlocks are going to be getting, and it looks amazing. It definitely looks like it's going to be a very hard-hitting move, and it's nice to know that you can deactivate it whenever you want to save a bit of super energy. and maybe start building up from wherever that energy left off. Alright, and finally, for Voidwalkers, we've got the Attunement of Fission. A new Atomic Breach melee ability creates a void explosion at range, while holding the grenade button down creates a new short-range area explosion supernova. Any void ability kills now heal you and grant you ability energy. So it looks like the Attunement of Fission is all about blowing things up. We actually got to see some of the grenade ability for scatter grenades in the trailer video we put out the other day. It's very cool. You get to hold it down, shoot some scatter grenades forward, and then they all detonate on a group of Scorn. For the super, we've got Nova Warp, which empowers you with trans-dimensional hopping abilities, letting you repeatedly teleport short distances and then erupt in a burst of energy. This is a super we've gotten to see in earlier reveals, and it's kind of like a roaming Striker Titan movement-esque super for Voidwalker Warlocks. Definitely looks really cool. But there we go, that is it for the 9 new supers and 9 new subclass trees. And I've got to say, a lot of these sound really, really good. I love that virtually all of them build into themselves. All of them provide some sort of benefit towards getting your abilities back faster. A lot of them have self-healing abilities, and some of them seem like they're going to be pretty strong in PvP. I'm really interested in seeing exactly how that Sunbreaker Titan ability works, just being able to throw a single hammer and then like go collect it and stack up damage and whatnot. I want to know how much damage that's going to do to other Guardians in PvP. There are a lot of exciting options here. But anyways, Guardians, that is going to be it for this one. Those are the 9 new supers, and those are my thoughts on them. What are yours? Be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest stuff we're putting out. We've got the TWAB coming out later today, so make sure you're staying tuned for our video covering that. But alright, it's going to be it for this one, Guardians. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I'm the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.